Yo, it's multi-band multiplier in the house, in the building, in the studio, in all of these places rolled into one thing. And I'm going to show you something pretty next level right now. So I've been playing around with iZotope RX4 Advanced, this plugin that just fixes shit like nothing else. And yeah, it's blown my mind. So I thought I'd show you a bit of it. I'm going to show you probably the simplest of the things it does, or one of the simplest, but I think it's one of the coolest, most useful things it does. And that is it fucks up, or anti-fucks up, a fuck up. So let's say you've clipped something and you're like, oh no, it's clipped. You can undo that. Or let's say you've got a sample someone sent you, or I don't know, sample on samplepackfolder.com or whatever, and it's like, oh no, it's clipped. We can fix all this. And that's with iZotope RX4, and I'm going to show you how. That's enough talking. Let's do some demonstrations. Right, so I need to find something. In fact, I've already clicked my thing. I'm going to pretend I don't know what I'm going to... What should we choose? I know exactly what we're going to choose already. We're going to choose this sample right here, because there's some really cool bass sounds in this sample pack, and they're all clipping, because whoever made it decided to turn off their brain temporarily and just clip the fuck out of everything in the sample pack. But it's all right, because we have RX4, we can fix it. That should be the iZotope saying. We can fix it. Right, so let's... There you go, they're all clipping, doesn't matter which one we choose. So let's say it's this guy. If we just like load it up into Ableton or whatever, have a look at it, do some zooming in with the zoom. See how it's clipping? It's like, oh no, it's clipping. That happens all the time when you're like in the studio, chilling with Skrillex in the hotel room, rapping with a fucking alpaca or something, and then you can't reshoot that kind of shit, so you got to fix it. So, right, we got clipping. That's proof. Let's undo this. I've been talking a lot without actually showing you anything, but that's multiplier for you. And right, so two ways of doing it. Either we could just drag out, I don't know, iZotope RX4 as a declipper in as a effect or whatever, but there's a better way of doing it that I prefer, and that is using RX4 Advanced Connect or whatever it's called. It's like the standalone version of RX4. I think it's just easier to work with, because usually, I don't know, you could just fix it. I think it's better just to fix it in the standalone application and then import it fresh, but yeah, that's just me. So we need to import this sample. So what's it called? It's called something, isn't it? It's called something like, there it is, Bass B11DDG2. I remember what it's so fucking open. Let's try and find it. There it is. It's already all prepared. So right, this is RX4 or Connect or whatever it's called. Standalone application. We've got this little slider. That's pretty cool. It kind of varies between the waveform and the spectrum or spectrogram. Waveform, spectrogram, opacity, so you can vary between the two looks. In the case of clipping, you pretty much just want to look at the waveform. If you're doing some other kinds of audio repair, this view is a lot more useful, but we're just dealing with clipping, so we can just look at this. So if we kind of zoom in, we can probably have a look and see what's clipping. So if we just kind of zoom in, we can confirm it's clipping pretty much like there and all over the place. So how do we undo it? I've been talking a lot without actually demonstrating it. Let's demonstrate, right. So how do we do it? Well, let's select everything. So let's double click, boom, it's selected. I haven't even shown you what it sounds like. It sounds like this. Coolness. Now I'm going to play it again. Listen for the subtle, like digitally distortion that's happening. There's the reason I chose this sample is you can really hear the kind of clipping or the distortion, because it's just supposed to be just kind of bassy, and then it's all kind of this like sort of shit. So listen again and listen for the mid to high frequency kind of not very nice sounding stuff when the transients are happening. Heard it? If not, get a brain. Right, so we double click declip probably, or single click declip. Single clicking sometimes better than double clicking, and that brings up this declipping thing. And then what we need to do is we've got kind of one main important setting, and that is this is the threshold. You see this? So as I'm dragging it around, it's kind of moving other shit in the background, like this line and that line. And then what we can do is we need to set the threshold. So the most important thing with the threshold, it's not that obvious. You need to set it just below the point of clipping. So if we kind of zoom in, well, we can see, because we know that this sample is clipping pretty much exactly at 0 dB. So if we kind of just keep zooming in by just kind of scrolling, we need to set this kind of right below the point of clipping. Because what will happen is Ableton, RX4 will kind of process and interpolate and fix everything above the threshold. So if we want to set the threshold just below the clipping, and that way RX4 goes, cool, all the clipping's happening above here, I'm going to fix it using magic. So if we just set it, yeah, just above, or kind of above all the other peaks, so you see how this kind of dude, it's kind of just above there, so it's not fucking with that, that's fine, but it's below the point of clipping for everything. So that's cool. You probably zoom out. So we've set our threshold just below the point of clipping, saying it again because it's the most important thing here. Choose a quality, high, because you might as well choose high. And then there's two other important things, and that is it's makeup, gain, and post limiter. Because you've got to bear in mind, when RX4 sees like a chopped off waveform, and it's like, oh, I need to draw it like this. Well, that's going to make the wave bigger, isn't it? Because it's drawing a little top. So what you need to do is kind of, it says makeup gain, but you're actually turning it down. Because if it's, say, 0 dB and then you draw a little mountain in your roof on top, it's going to be too big. So you have to turn it down. So you don't really have to turn it down because you have a limiter. But I think it's better just to turn it down and then not have the limiter do anything. So it does have a limiter, which is post limiter, just in case you don't turn it down enough. But I think it's better usually to just turn it down way loads, like, I don't know, like -10 or whatever. That should be enough. And then you can always normalize it or run it for a limiter or do kind of tasteful distortion or saturation coloring, call it what you like afterwards. So we're going to turn it down loads, say -8, should be fine. Quality is high. We're going to hit process. This is the moment of truth. And it's done. Right, so we'll close that. Now, you don't just be turning it down quite a long way, so it's nowhere near normalized. So we can kind of re-normalize that. We can do that all in Isotope RX4. Check that out. So we do gain, single click, not double click, stupid. Normalize tab, target peak level 0, yeah, process. Coolness. So now we can see what's gone on. So if we have a look, we see we've got tons of transients now because Isotope's RX4 is kind of drawn in the roof or the top of the waveform. So if we zoom in, remember how it was chopped off? Look at that, perfect. That's some sort of voodoo shit. Look at it, fixed, as if by magic. You thought it was broken forever, but it wasn't, because RX4 saved the day. This is freaking me out, it's so good. So yeah, now we've got all our transients back. It's sickness in the brain. And now if we play it through again. Wowzers, trousers. We've got them transients, we haven't got any distortion. And then what we can do naturally in a real life situation, because this is a hypothetical universe we're in right about now, you would probably have to then run it through a compressor or a limiter or something, because we've got a little bit too much kind of transient going on, a little bit too much transient on the attack. But that's fine, because then when we process it and kind of compress it or limit it and bring it back to the level it was before, we can do it without doing digital clipping. So win-win, winner, chicken dinner. I think that is magical. Look at that. I mean, it's just drawn in perfect little, it's almost like they got a little creature to just kind of go, I don't know, with like a pencil and just kind of drawn in the waveform. It's pretty amazing, I think. Look at that. Perfect waveform, perfect waves. Gonna get you all the honeys. Right, so that is declipping, the removal of clipping, anti-clipping, you might say, or declipping, as it's called. I think it's pretty amazing. If you're not blown away by that, you need to reassess what's important in life, because that is important. And then, but yeah, look at all this other shit it does. Declick, remove hum, denoise. Denoising's fucking unbelievable, by the way. I'm going to do a proper video on that at some stage. Spectral repair. It could do weird shit, like if you've got a weird, like if a bird, like this happens all the time, right? You're recording your vocals with Dre, Jay-Z, all the dudes, all the biggest, David Guetta, all the guys, and then bird flies in, and then it's like tweets and shit, makes a bird noise and ruins the recording. You could just like cut that shit out using RX4 if you needed to. That happens all the time, but that's a separate issue. This is all about declipping. This is just a taste of what's to come. Lots of good stuff. But yeah, RX4 is blowing my mind. I've done a lot of talking, but that's because look how cool that is. Right. It's just got rid of the clipping completely. I didn't realize software could do that until RX4. Mind blown.